Alright, so another weekly recap video. This is for week commencing the 9th of March. I've took no new swing positions this week, and I'm going to share my reasons for that in this video. I have managed to take an intraday trade this week, which of course I'm going to walk you through my analysis on that. And just as a bit of a reminder, I'm going to walk you through the swing position that I've been in since the 2nd of March and go through that as well and my reasons for kind of entering. If you've got any questions, of course, please do drop them in the comment section below. And also, if you do get value from this video, please do give it a thumbs up. And for now, we'll go on to the charts. All right, so here we are on DXY. I'm going to talk you through this week. So we're going back to the 9th of March. Cool. All right, so my plan for this week was quite simple, but it just didn't happen, and that's why I didn't swing this week. So for me, I'm very bullish on DXY, okay? The reason for that is simply because since taking previous yearly lows, which is this liquidity here, we've kind of displaced up, respecting bullish fair value gaps or bullish points of interest, disrespecting bearish, right? And also if we look at the weekly here, we can see, the weekly's kind of getting ran through, and in fact, it did get run through the week prior. So going into this new week, looking at order flow, everything's been respected bullish, everything's been disrespected bearish, okay? So I'm looking for longs on DXY. So you can see here, we've got this daily fair value gap, lovely daily fair value gap that I wanted price to come into. And if I just play this forward, in fact, before I do that, basically the plan was to come into here and then target liquidity, okay? So this liquidity here would be a ideal situation, or it could have been this liquidity here, although this would be, the main target, okay? So that was the plan for the week, right? I went in with a plan, and as you can see, if we go to the Monday, Tuesday came very, very close. If I drop down to the 4-hour here, look how close this was, right? So this here, I actually thought was inducements, right? I actually think this is trapping a lot of people prematurely to go higher on DXY, okay? And what I noticed as well, we had a 4-hour fair value gap here, 4-hour fair value gap there. Now for me, I wanted to see, first of all, what was going to happen with that 4-hour fair value gap. What I didn't want to do is to enter a trade too prematurely, and actually price action comes back down into its intended direction from this daily fair value gap to then push higher. So looking at this 4-hour fair value gap, I was just waiting to see what happens. And you can see it starts to come back down. We're still inside this 4-hour fair value gap, and only when this candle closed here, which is Wednesday the 11th, that's when it only disrespected, okay? So for me, I wasn't kind of interested in a swing because I'd rather take a swing position from here. So I kind of missed that move, okay? So I waited a bit longer because I wanted to wait for confirmation that, DXY was going higher. And on Thursday, I had confidence in that. So you can see here, on Thursday, play this forward, there we are. So this is Thursday now, and by this point, I believe that we had low of the weekend, okay? Remember, DXY, we don't trade it, but I always do my analysis on here. So you can see, by Thursday, very confident, low of the week's in. I wasn't too sure Monday, Tuesday, or even potentially Wednesday, because price could reverse and actually start going for this daily fair value gap. But by Thursday, the probable factor of the weekly candle reversing on Thursday is more unlikely, right? So that's why it gave me confidence that actually we had low of the weekend. It was just unfortunate it didn't tap into the daily fair value gap, right? Bit frustrating, but I'm glad I stuck to my plan, okay? So by this point, this is where I had confidence that actually we're going to start seeking liquidity. I'm just going to draw this target up here. So you can see at this point on the lower time frames, the daily, the 4-hour, it's not been taken. But Thursday of the week, I had the confidence low of the week was in. So this is where I go into EU, and I just want you to ignore this big trade. This is the swing trade that I'm in from the 2nd of March, which I will go through. I'm currently going through the intraday trade I took, and this was it. So essentially this was on Thursday as well. And the difference between a intraday and a swing position On a swing position, I'm looking for confirmation of high or low of the week on the of the weekly candle. Okay, so high or low of the week. With a intraday trade, I'm looking for high of the day or low of the day, depending on my bias. Because DXY is going higher, I'm looking for shorts on the euro. And you can see here, this is what I was looking at. I'm just going to play this forward, just here. So I was looking at this daily fair value gap, sorry, this 4-hour fair value gap, and I was waiting for confirmation that high of the day was in, okay? And you can see I've already marked it out there as per my analysis when I took the trade. And you can see here that price action plays forward and it comes into that daily fair value gap. Now, if you've watched the previous video on order flow, price actions come into that fair value gap and it's pushed away, it's rejected away from that bearish fair value gap. That shows me that that fair value gap is being respected. So this is where I drop down to the 30-minute and the 15-minute. So when I intraday trade, I take them on the 30-minute or the 15-minute. On a swing position, I'll enter on the 1 hour or the 4 hour, okay? So because this is intraday, we look on the 30-minute, we've got our confirmation, which is in the form of displacement, okay? So you can see here, it came into the 4-hour fair value gap and displaced away, really strong push away. So what I didn't actually get in on this move here, so I didn't get in there, I actually got in on this candle. So as soon as price came back up and I started to see some rejection respecting this 30-minute fair value gap, that's when I use a market execution, which I believe this was going to be high of the day, so that's where my stop loss goes, right? That's my area of invalidation. If price comes beyond high of the day, then my bias for that day is more than likely going to be wrong, okay? So that's where my stop loss goes, and this one was a 1.8R trade, I believe. And you can see if I just play it out, I'm in the trade by now and it hits TP. So that is the intraday trade I took this week. That's the only new position I have took this week, okay? Simple reason being, remember, if we go on DXY, my bias was bullish on DXY, but it did not tap into this daily fair value gap. It became very close, but it didn't give me confidence because price action could have easily reversed from this 4-hour fair value gap that I mentioned, okay? So intraday trade, I'm in and out quite quickly, and that was kind of the wins for this week, okay? So I want to talk through my swing position that I've been in since the 2nd of March, just as a bit of a recap. I'm going to bring on a print screen now of my MT5. That's my current position. The markets are closed right now. The date today is Saturday the 14th of March, and the markets are obviously shut, okay? But it is very close to TP. I'm just going to come off replay mode and just show you how close it is. But you can see if I go on the daily, this is the actual trade. Now looking at this, I actually think we've actually got high of the month in, and this is actually high of the week of the time of the trade, okay? And I had these targets drawn out, target 2, target 3, which is all liquidity for me, okay? Now I got a question on my TikTok, why did I hold this long, right? Why didn't I not come out of here or here? Now on this initial trade idea, I actually came out of 2 of my trades, which I shared on a previous video, at target 1, okay? It was a good percentage up in my account. I'm happy with it. I came out of the trade. On this one, I let it run a bit longer, okay? And the simple reason being is because I believe this is external range liquidity. Now, this isn't something I'll use in my strategy all the time, but when I see something like this, it gives me a bit more confidence to hold. So you can see here, if we really play this back on replay mode now before the actual trade, so if I go to this, we can see here that this is the trading range, right? We can see here is the trading range. Now, this low to this high, where's where price was. Once liquidity was taken from this area, this liquidity here, this line, price starts to displace on the daily and the 4-hour and other time frames, okay? Now, logically, I'm thinking, well, where is price seeking, right? It's always got to seek one of 2 things, which are fair value gaps or liquidity. So this here, target 1 and 2, is something I like to call internal range liquidity. If we look at the range I talked about from this low to this high, then simply it's got to go to the other external to take out liquidity, right? So this for me is the bottom of that range, which I identify as external range liquidity. This is internal. Think about the range here to here. This is internal within the range, but this is the very end of the range, the external range liquidity, okay? So that's that's the reason why I held this trade for as long as I've done. It's going to be about 2 weeks, okay? So let's just go back to where price action currently is, and we can see it's very close to TP. Again, I don't know if I've mentioned this already, but I'll bring a print screen of my MT5 up right now. Markets are shut, and this is where I'm at. And I think TP is around about 10,600 on a 200k FTMO account. So as a bit of a replay, as a bit of a reason why I went through this trade idea, we need to go back to DXY. So going back to DXY, it was actually this, if I just clean my charts up a little bit, and it was actually the 2nd of March, which was this. So let's go play it back here. So the 2nd of March has not been played, but again, it's the same type of story of the reason I took this trade. We took previous yearly lows here. We disrespected this bearish fair value gap. We created a bullish fair value gap. Price came into it, respected it, and pushed higher. And for this 2nd of March trade, the previous week gave me confidence for the actual trade idea. So we've got a very small daily fair value gap here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's very small here. And when Monday opened, you can see very strong displacement, okay? If we look on the 4 hour, the 1 hour as well, huge displacement, okay? So I actually believe that we had low of the week in already here. Yeah, it was here. So I was very confident low of the week was in very early that week. Simple reason, because it's coming from a daily fair value gap and we've displaced right away, okay? So how that looked on EU is as follows. This is the 2nd of March now. You can see at the bottom of my screen. We displaced on the euro, leaving 1 hour fair value gaps. We also displaced on the 4 hour, leaving a fair value gap as well. And this is where I market executed, okay? So you can see here, fair value gaps in the morning, price came back into this area, and that's where essentially I got into the trade. Now, in terms of reflection, my stop loss could have been here, and it would have made the trade even better. But my concern is that it could have filled the weekend opening gap, which is this gap here. So I just had that covered just in case. So you can see it's a very big chunky stop loss, right? 84 pips. The reason I like big chunky stop losses for my swing positions is because I like to trade through news, okay? So obviously for the last 2 weeks, we've had lots of news come out, and I've not been concerned because my stop loss is so big, and of course price action's pushed away by this point. So you can see here that last week, this is where I came out a few of my positions on Tuesday, very early for a swing position, in all honesty, even though I was held overnight. But you can see here that price came all the way down to here and is very now close to my TP. So I think it's going to take profit, in all honesty. My take profit is set from this point, and it's good to know that the analysis, I believe, is going to be right. Still, it's early days because TP is not actually hit, but looking at the way price action's moved, there's probably a good confirmation that it's going to hit TP. So that is pretty much for this video. Just as a bit of a recap, we've covered the reason why I didn't swing trade this week. We've covered the reason why I took an intraday trade this week, okay? And also we've covered my previous long-term swing position on the euro, which I took on the 2nd of March, okay? All of this basically comes from what's happening on DXY. If I have confidence in DXY, then I'm going to have confidence in the pairs I trade, which is the euro and the pound. So hopefully you've got value from this video. If you have got value, please do give me a like, a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you've got any questions whatsoever, please do drop a comment below and I will get back to you. For now, I'll keep this trade updated on my TikTok, and I'll do another weekly recap, win or lose, on next week's video. So yeah, enjoy your weekend, guys. Keep up the good work, and I'll see you all soon. Take care.